Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome back to Smallholder Top Tips. It's autumn, September. It's time to put the garden to bed for the winter, and so I'm going around doing odds and sods of jobs like tying up ropes and making sure the gates are sturdy and making sure the fences are good and making sure that the sheep are happy over there in the field, and generally preparing for the onslaught of winter. In particular today, as we have a storm approaching, Storm Ali, and I understand that we are to expect winds of anything between 50 and 80 miles an hour depending upon where you are. And as I'm sure you know, most of the things on this small holding are either second-hand or crap, or sometimes both. And that description is absolutely perfect when coming to think about this greenhouse. Now, we bought this in 2006 when we lived in London. We got it on eBay, it was second-hand then, and in the years between, I think I have dismantled it and reassembled it about 3 times. And each time I do that, of course, I lose some bits and fixtures and fittings, I twist a bit of metal here and there, and generally it is less secure every time I rebuild it. So now it's a little bit tired and it has a particular problem. And the problem is this elevation, this front elevation, is the one that faces the wind, and so as you can see it's quite a substantial area and it catches the wind which then pushes on it. And as you can see down here, the greenhouse sits on this plinth which used to be firmly attached, but because I lost the bit that attaches it, it now just kind of sits on it and hopes and prays. And what often happens is that the elevation here gets pushed in, which then means this section bends in and drops behind the plinth. And I'm sure you know, dear viewer, that glass doesn't bend very well. So I need to fix it. And I've done it in a very clever way, I think you'll agree. Now, I drive second-hand cars, and maybe you do too. And when your car radio breaks, you usually go to Halfords and buy a new one, take it home, install it, all as well. It comes with these things, these little bendy metal key type things which you're supposed to use to insert them in the side of the radio when you want to remove it. And if you're anything like me, you usually bin these within about 2 days, but I keep them. And I'm going to use them to repair this greenhouse. And in fact, that's what I've done. So have a look down here. As you can see, I have pushed 2 of these radio keys in from the inside of the greenhouse, where the back of it is a sort of a lip which holds onto the greenhouse. And then where it comes through the front, I'm simply bending it down so that it has some structural security and will prevent the greenhouse from being pushed back and dropping inside the plinth. I'm sure you'll agree this is probably the best repair you've ever seen of this type, and I'm sure you'll agree that it will work. And I'm really confident that tomorrow morning there'll be one of 2 things happening. The first is that I will come out here in the aftermath of the storm, I shall look in this direction and I shall admire this magnificent greenhouse looking more or less exactly as it does now. The other possibility is that I come out here and I look down and I see a pile of broken glass, twisted metal and bits of tent and bucket and mattress there. And if that is what happens, you may rest assured that I will go inside and cry.